Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to every single one of you beautiful souls watching this video. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? This is probably the most interesting question you can ask ever. I would say this is the most interesting question you can ask. Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who are you? Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? Does it get any more interesting than that? I don't think so. I don't think so. All knowledge is self-knowledge. So I'm gonna try and tackle this question, wrestle with this question, and I'm going to provide but one perspective, because you can answer this question in so many different ways. So the answer I'm going to give in this video is I am / you are a mind, body, spirit complex. And I'm coding raw from the raw material, the raw contact. I'm coding the social complex, the social memory complex entity that goes by the name Ra, which is a channeled entity in the book The Law of One. He describes individuals on this plane of existence, on planet Earth, in this third density physical reality. He describes them as a mind, body, spirit complex. So you can look at yourself as an entity. So this right here, I am an entity, and that entity is made up of the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity: mind, body, spirit, complex / entity. Complex is an entity, right? A complex. I lived in a complex. What is a complex? It had a swimming pool, houses all around the complex. It had like a clubhouse, ping pong table. It's a complex, right? It's made up of different things with different people living in it. So you are a mind, body, spirit complex. An entity. A complex entity. That word has several meanings and they apply here. You're a complex being. A human being is a complex being. The further you are into the cycle of evolution, the higher you are in the densities, and there are 7 of them, the more complex you are. So an animal is also a mind, body, spirit complex, but it's less complex. No pun intended here. Why is that? Because the mind of an animal, the brain and the mind, they're two different things, is less sophisticated, less complex than a human being. The nervous system, the body of an animal, is less developed, less complex, less sophisticated than a human being. So all living beings that move about, right? Animals and humans, animals, consist of a mind, body, spirit complex. So take a look at this complex in front of you here, this mind, body, spirit complex, this one right here, this entity. There is a body, there is a biological organism, there is a mind here, and there is a spirit animating, driving the vehicle. The vehicle is the mind-body complex. The spirit is the rider of this vehicle, the driver of this vehicle. That's the spirit riding the mind-body complex, merging with the mind-body complex for the time being until it leaves the mind-body complex, thus making it mind-body-spirit complex. So you have the body. The first thing about the body is the biological identification. Is it a male or is it a female? And depending on the answer here, it creates a different behavior, right? If this human body, if you're in a female body, then you have the menstrual cycle, you get period, you bleed out of your vagina, and it's like a whole different trajectory than if you were a male. If you're a male, you have this penis, and it gets hard, and it shrinks, and some white milky thing comes out of it, right? And so your behavior is different. Even the brain, the way the brain is wired is different. If you're a female, it's different if you're a male. A female is the biological body. A female biological body is wired to give birth. So the brain is wired differently. The behavior of a female is going to be different than the behavior of a male, just based on the biological identity alone. But that's only one dimension, right? One dimension of the body complex, and a small tiny dimension of the mind body spirit complex. So another thing, tall, short, right? That's another identification of the body complex. Are you tall? Are you like 2 meters tall? Are you 1 meter tall? What is going on with the height dimension of the body complex? What is the body type of the body complex? You see? And then you have the genetic code, the DNA. So what kind of information is installed? What kind of software is installed into this hardware, into this body? So for instance, if all your ancestors smoked cigarettes, your body, this body complex that you're in, is going to be more likely to crave cigarettes. So you may smell cigarettes and be like, I like the smell, right? Why? It's because the software of all your ancestors is written in this body complex, and therefore you're more likely, not that you're doomed, or you use that as an excuse, but you're more likely to pick up the habit of smoking because you're going to find the smell to be more attractive. Same thing goes for certain foods, right? If your ancestors have been eating certain food and you inherit this biological organism with that DNA, certain foods, certain smells, certain tastes might appeal more to you. And thus, your addictions can can be based in your biology, actually. But it's not the only reason, because we're talking about mind, body, spirit complex. So you see, the body complex alone, you can sit here for hours and study it and see how complex it is and how different it is from human to human. From your ethnicity, for instance, right? Your ethnicity plays a role as well. That's your part of your body complex, right? If you're darker skin, you have more melanin, you pick up more energy from the sun, right? And vice versa, right? That's one part of the body complex. So it's your interaction with the external world, how the body complex picks up energy. If your body complex has more brown fat as a result of living in colder climates, then you find it easier to live in colder climates. Your body temperature is naturally higher. So there's so many different things here coming into. So many different things into the body complex alone, folks. Alone. Alright, we haven't even gotten into the mind complex or the spirit complex here. So let's talk about the mind complex here. What is the mind complex? The mind is the sort of the software, right? The mind is the software. So we all have different mind based on our upbringing. Okay, of course your body complex is affected by your upbringing, and more so the mind though, right? So first of all, language. What language did you get brought up to speak? The way you speak wires you in a certain way that gets you to behave in a certain way. What language do you speak here, right? If you grew up speaking Italian, even you will be moving a lot more with your body, with your hands. I'm giving you a small example here, right? What is the culture you grew up in? Because culture is you get all these different softwares from the culture that you're brought up in. So language, culture, what material did you consume? What books did you read? What movies did you watch? What friends did you hang out with? How were your parents? How did they treat you? What were your beliefs about yourself growing up? What were your beliefs about the world? Did you grow up thinking the world is a difficult, hard place, that life is hard, you have to work hard, and that sort of, mind creates reality? So then that's your belief system, that's your mind, that's the software that operates your mind, body, spirit complex, the vehicle that you're driving. Did you grow up thinking you're beautiful? Did you grow up thinking you're ugly? What kind of beliefs did you pick up? Of course, most human beings, the vast majority of earthlings, have grown up with negative beliefs, self-limiting beliefs. You see, animals are different. Animals have a mind, they have a body, it's just less complex, but still is complex enough. But you see how complex a human being is. It's really very complex, very complex. So, what kind of attachments did you pick up growing up? What kind of beliefs? That's your belief system, your mind, your beliefs about the world, your beliefs about yourself. Your beliefs about life and death. Very complex. Very, very complex. Very complex. What kind of traumas did you pick up? That affects both mind, body complex, because the trauma gets stored in the body. And the interesting thing about the mind complex is how flexible and malleable it is. If you use neuro-linguistic programming, you can rewire the whole thing. You can rewrite, install new software, get rid of old software. Very complex thing, the brain, the mind, not the brain, the mind. The mind is different than the brain, and the brain is the physical instrument. The mind is more in the etheric realm. So, your brain, for instance, the physical measuring instrument, the physical instrument, can be affected by your biology, by your body. If you go for a run, suddenly your brain is wired in a different way, right? Certain chemicals are secreted at all different times of the day, you see, right? So, one thing to note is that you, the deepest part of you, is actually neither the mind nor the body. It is the driver, the experiencer, which is the spirit. The experiencer of the mind-body complex. You see why you're not your mind? Because your mind is changing all the time, right? I grew up with certain beliefs about reality and certain beliefs about myself, and I discovered about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and rewiring the subconscious mind, and I changed the whole fucking program, and I'm still changing the program. Day by day. It's changing whether I like it or not. It's always changing. New information, new belief system, new things going on. Just found out about the cabal in the beginning of the year. All the pedophilia and the child trafficking and all that. That, changed my mind about so many different things. Right? So, that's not you. The mind's not you. Because it's always changing. You can always change it, like this. You do some deep meditation, some subconscious rewiring, and boom, it's different. Same with the body, right? If you're an overweight person, you can lose some weight, and there you are, you're slim. You were a kid, and you grew up, and you became an adult. Your body grew in size. And then, you may have black hair one day, and then 30 years later, you've got gray hair, and, it's different. It's always different. It's not you. You are the spirit part of this mind-body-spirit complex. It merged with the mind-body complex to form the mind-body complex in the present moment. Once the spirit departs the mind-body complex, you're no longer the mind-body-spirit complex. You're the spirit complex in a new body, in an astral body, in another mind, if you will. An astral mind. So then you become a new mind-body-spirit complex. But the spirit is always the driver, the experiencer of the mind-body complex. So let's talk about the spirit complex here, folks. The spirit complex brings into the mind-body complex its karma, its evolution, its vibration. So if a soul comes here from the 6th density, when it's vibrating at a 6th density rate, like a social memory complex, like Ra, for example, comes into this human body, brings its karma, brings its vibration into the mind-body complex. I have frequently actually ran into people that are beaming with light, beaming with love, but you can look at their bodies and you can see how their body's unhealthy, they're overweight, they've got acne here, skin issues, and yet something in that mind body spirit complex is beaming with love and light. Why is that? Because that soul, that spirit, is bringing its vibration, its high vibration, into the mind body complex. Now, of course, if that soul is mistreating the mind body complex, it's shining less, beaming less. Nevertheless, put another soul in there that isn't vibrating as at a high rate, let's say, at a lower vibration, with the same body, and that mind body spirit complex is going to be quite dim. It's going to be feeling tired, it's going to be feeling miserable, it's going to be operating at a lower performance, let's say. Why? Because the spirit brings its vibration into the mind body complex. Now, of course, if that spirit, if that high vibrational spirit keeps misusing and mistreating the mind body complex, then maybe in the future it may have a heart attack or something, and that will bring the vibration lower. Nevertheless, you can see why some, you may ask yourself, well, if the mind and the body has such an effect on the mood and on the vibration, why do some people who are overweight and clearly are mistreating their bodies, why do they seem to be more vibrant, with more energy? And that's your answer, because that vibrational frequency of that soul is higher. However, if that soul keeps mistreating the mind-body complex, as it ages, it's not shining as brightly anymore. So it's important to take care of the mind-body complex to vibrate at a higher rate, to vibrate at a higher frequency. Very, very important, folks. So that's the spirit. It brings its karma, it brings its evolution, its vibrational rate, and so it becomes the mind, body, spirit complex, and that's who you are. And that's why I always say a human being is a very complex being. Very, very, very complex being. Now, what is, when I say, a soul maybe vibrating in the 6th density, or the 5th density, or the 3rd density, what do I mean by that? That's in the illusion, right? In the illusion. Because the soul goes through the illusion from separation to oneness, and it goes through this illusion, and it's the game in the mind of God, right? So that's the mind-body-spirit complex. It's a very complex matter, and human beings are very complex, and the behavior is very complex, and you may look at a human and their behavior puzzles you. You don't understand it. That's because it's a complex thing. If you're going to try to understand a human, you've got to try to understand the whole picture. Their body, so that's their DNA, their gender, and their DNA. The DNA affects the body, their upbringing affects the body. You gotta try to understand their mind, so you pretty much gotta understand their childhood, their upbringing, the different programs they've been exposed to, the different beliefs that they've been exposed to. And then you've got to understand their spirit, their karma. What are they here for? What karma brings them here? What past lives have they had? What past lives traumas, what past lives fears have they brought with them? Or what hopes have they brought up with them? If you're a wanderer, a starseed soul, you're here to elevate the consciousness of the planet. Your karma is going to be different than someone who ended their last life killing someone, and now they're here. You see how complex this whole thing is? See, psychotherapy, modern psychotherapy, tries to deal with more of the mind and some of the body. It's trying to deal with the mind-body complex. It has no idea about the spirit, no idea about the past karma and all that. Then you've got some people in the spiritual realm, and they'll do past life regression to find out what happened in your past life. What karma are you bringing with you? But again, the pitfall of that is that it ignores the mind-body complex, right? It places more of an emphasis on what karma are you bringing with you here, what purpose are you here for, what past life traumas, or what purpose or what assignment are you here to do, right? But you've got to account for all of them. You've got to account for the mind, body, spirit complex. You're a complex being. You're not as simple as you've been led to believe. And to figure out you is a lifelong mission, really. to figure out what is this mind body spirit complex, what is this thing, what is it gotta do here, what is its purpose, what is its karma. And of course there are other ways to bypass some of these processes and procedures, and that is to align yourself with the Tao. Really just meditate and really just get in alignment and let this thing do its thing. Let this mind body spirit complex do its thing. Let it express itself. You don't really have to know with your conscious mind, with your rational mind, right? That's probably the best way to go about it, actually. To recognize how complex you are, how complex everyone around you is, and then align yourself with the Tao, harmonize yourself with the Tao, meditate, fast, eat properly, do all these things to remove the obstructions, and just let the Tao through you. Let the Tao express through you. Let this mind, body, spirit complex do its thing through you. Right? But you guys are all too curious, just like me, and you want to know. So keep seeking and finding the truth. Not just seeking. Keep finding the truth. Keep digging down in the rabbit holes, entertain yourself. But always remember, stay harmonized with the Tao, because you don't have to know everything. Okay? You don't have to know everything. Remove the obstructions from your body, remove the obstructions from your mind, let the mind, body, spirit complex do its thing. You want to remove the obstructions from the body, you fast, you eat fruits. You want to remove obstructions from the mind, clear and clear and clear. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Empty and empty and empty, because it's all about emptiness. And then the spirit shines through you, experiences this mind-body complex, does its thing through you. Through this mind-body spirit complex, just expresses. Right? You don't have to know everything. And rant over. This was a fun philosophical rant. I mean, there was really no point in this, right? I was just like merely discussing, merely having philosophical thoughts here. So thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And thank you to the Patreons for your continued support. Thank you for the people who donate one-time donations via PayPal. You guys are all awesome, every single one of you. The Patrons, the PayPal supporters. If you'd like to support, the links are down below for Patreon, for PayPal. Love every single one of you guys. And until next time, may the Force be with you.